Hi guys, it's Amy and this is Amy by Nature. How you all doing? Welcome and welcome back to my channel. Today is Thursday, so it is time for story time with Amy. We do our scratch offs and then we do our colour and save page, and while we're colouring I tell you a story. So we're starting off with our scratch offs. I am not doing the no IOUs this week. And we're starting on the first scratch off in our binder, and this one is one of mine and it is The Fellowship Begins. So let's roll the dice, and it's number 1, so we're just going to go here. It's number 1 and it is a 3, and as always I've got £25 to spend on my scratch offs. So we've got 3 for this one. So let me get my 3. I'll put the money there. And in total we have got 20, 35, 37, 38, and this is a save 50. So we are very close to the end on this one. Our next one is this skeleton chilling out with a drink from Sarah Saves 07. So we've got 5, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to go down here and it is a 3, so there is our 3 for this one, and in total we have got 23 off of this one, and this one is a save 40. Our next one is Candy Shop, and this is from Susan at Wimell Ridge Budgets, and that's a 2, so we're going to go 1, 2, and we're going to scratch this one off, and it is a 6. So we need to get 6 for this one. 2, 4, 6. And in total, we now have 22, 4, 6, 8, 30. And this one is a save 65, so we're almost halfway through it. And we have got this one from Homemaking with Heather. So we've only got 1 scratch off left on this one, so we're going to scratch this, and it's a 1. Here is the 1. So we have got 20, 30, 32, 33, and these 4 are roll and saves. So I think I'm going to do the roll and saves on this one, so I'll keep this one around a little longer. And then we have got this happy birthday one from Save with Judy. I was sent, it's part of her membership on her channel. When it's your birthday, she sends you a challenge. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to go down to this one here, and it is a 7. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 7 for this one. So in total we now have 10, 15, 17, 19, 21, 23, 24, 25. So we are halfway there because this is a 50 saving. that is awesome. And then we have got this one from Eva at Budget Your Life. And this one I just started last week. And this is, I got so much procrastinating done today, which is the story of my life, I think. So we've got 5. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it is a 1. So let's put 1 in here. So we have a total of 3 in this challenge now. And this one saves 34. So we've got 4 left. So I think what we're going to do is we are going to do the 4-sided dice. And it is a 1. And then let's roll again. Another 1. So that's 2. And that's a 3. So we've got 2 left. So we'll do the 2 in there. And just so we don't have to go into the IOUs for that. So we're putting the extra 4 into this one. So we've got 20, 32, 4, 6, 7, 37. So that one will be finished next week. And we're going to put our bookmark onto this one again, because we will start there next week. So there we have our scratch offs, and we're going to go on to our story time with Amy. So we are going to colour in this next one here. So I will colour this in and I will come back to you.
Once there was a king and queen who said to each other every day, "Wouldn't it be good to have a child?" But for all their wishing, all their praying, all their expensive medicine and special diets, no child came. Then one day, when the queen was bathing, a frog crept out of the water and sat on the bank and said to her, "Your wish will be granted. Before a year has passed, you'll bring a daughter into the world." The frog's words came true. After a year, the queen gave birth to a baby girl who was so beautiful that the king couldn't contain his joy, and he ordered a great celebration to which he invited not only his royal relatives from every nearby country, but also friends and distinguished people of every kind. Among those were the 13th wise woman. The king wanted them there so that they would be well disposed towards his daughter, but the trouble was that he only had 12 gold plates for them to eat off. One of the wise women would have to stay at home. The feasting and celebrating went on for some time, and it ended with the wise woman presenting the new princess with special gifts. This one gave her virtue, that one gave her beauty, a third gave her wealth, and so on. Everything anyone could wish for was hers. The 11th one had just given her gift of patience when there was a disturbance at the door. The guards were trying to keep someone out, but she swept them aside and came in anyway. It was the 13th wise woman. "So you didn't think me worth inviting?" she said to the king. "What a mistake that was. Here's my answer to that insult. In her 15th year, the princess will prick her finger on a spindle and fall down dead." And she turned on her heel and swept out. Everyone was shocked, but the 12th wise woman, who hadn't given her gift yet, stepped forward and said, "I can't completely undo that evil wish, but I can soften it. The princess will not die, but fall asleep for 100 years. The king, wanting to protect his daughter, issued a command that every spindle in the land should be burned. As the princess grew up, it was clear to all the wise woman's gifts were there in full abundance. Never had anyone known a girl kinder, more beautiful, more clever, or more sweet-tempered. She was loved by everyone who knew her. Now on the day when the princess turned 15, it happened that the king and queen were away, and the girl was alone in the castle. She wandered about from place to place, looking into this room or that, into the cellar, up onto the rooftop, going wherever she wanted. And at last she came to an old tower where she'd never been before. She climbed up the dusty spiral staircase and found a small door at the top with a rusty key in the lock. Curious, the princess turned the key, and at once the door sprang open. In the little room sat an old woman with a spindle, busily spinning flax. "Good morning, old lady," said the princess. "What's that you're doing?" "I'm spinning," said the old woman. Of course, the princess had never seen anyone spinning before. "What's that little thing bouncing it round on the end of the thread?" she said. The old woman offered to show her how to do it. The princess took hold of the spindle, and a second later she felt a prick in her finger, and down she fell on the bed that lay ready, fast asleep. The sleep was so deep that it spread through all the castle. The king and queen had just returned, and as soon as they walked in the hall, they fell down where they stood. Their servants and attendants fell down too, like dominoes in a line, and so did the horses in the stables, and the grooms looking after them, and the pigeons on the roof, and the dogs in the courtyard. One dog was scratching himself. He fell asleep just like that, with his back paw behind his ear. The flies on the wall fell asleep. Down in the kitchen, the very flames under the roasting ox fell asleep. A drop of fat that was about to fall from the sizzling carcass stayed where it was and didn't move. The cook had been about to clout the kitchen boy. Her hand fell still 6 inches from his ear, and his face remained screwed up waiting for the blow. Outside, the wind stopped blowing. Not a leaf stirred. The very ripples on the lake stayed as they were, as if made of glass. In all the castle and in its grounds, the only thing that moved was a thorny hedge. Every year it grew a little more, and it slowly grew and grew till it reached the castle walls. And then it climbed and climbed year by year till it covered the entire castle. Nothing of the building could be seen, not even the flag on the roof. Of course, people wondered why this was happening, and where the king and queen and their beautiful daughter were. But there were a few people who'd been guests at the celebration of the princess's birth, and who remembered the wise woman and their gifts, and the curse of the one who'd been left out. "It's all because the beautiful princess fell asleep," they said. "She must be in there still. Anyone who makes his way in and rescues her will marry her, you'll see." Naturally, as time passed, various young men came, princes, soldiers, farmers' sons, beggars, all kinds of them, trying to cut their way through the hedge and find the door of the castle. They were sure that once they were inside, they'd find the princess and wake her up with a kiss and break the spell. But none of them managed it. The hedge was immensely thick, and the thorns so long and sharp that they dug into the clothes and the flesh of anyone trying to force his way through. All the young men got stuck. The more they struggled, the deeper the thorns stabbed them, and they couldn't go on, and they couldn't turn back, and they couldn't get free, and they all died helplessly in the hedge. Many, many years later, after the story of the sleeping princess had been almost forgotten, a young prince came to that country. He was travelling incognito, and when he stayed at a humble inn not far from the castle, nobody knew who he was. One night, he listened to an old man telling a story by the fire. It was a story about a great thorn hedge. Inside the hedge there was a castle, and inside the castle was a tower, and inside the tower was a room where a lovely princess lay asleep. "And there's many a brave young man has tried to get through the hedge," he said, "and not one of them made it. If you go up close you can see their skeletons, or bits of them. That's close enough to see, but no one's seen the princess, and she's lying there asleep to this day." "I'll try," said the young man. "My sword's sharp enough to deal with thorns." "Don't do it, son," said the old man. "Once you get in that hedge, no power on earth will get you out. You'll blunt your sword on 100 thorns before you've gone a yard." "No," declared the prince. "I'm going to do it, and that's that. I'll start in the morning." As it happened, the very next day was the day when the 100 years were up. Of course, the prince didn't know about that, but he set off with a heart full of courage. He came to the great thorn hedge and found it not at all as the old man had said, because as well as thorns, the hedge was bearing pretty pink flowers, thousands upon thousands of them. For all that, though, he could see the skeletons of many other young men tangled deep in the briars. A sweet fragrance like apples filled the air, and as the prince came close to the hedge, the branches pulled apart by themselves to let him through, closing up behind him afterwards. He came to the courtyard and saw the pigeons asleep, the dog still with its paw behind its neck, the flies asleep on the wall. He went down to the kitchen and saw the kitchen boy's face still screwed up, waiting for the clout from the cook's hand, the flames standing quite still in the hearth, the drop of fat about to drop from the roasting ox. He wandered through the rooms, upstairs. He saw servant after servant asleep in the middle of whatever they'd been doing, and the king and queen asleep on the floor of the hall, exactly where they'd fallen. When he came to the tower, he climbed a dusty spiral staircase and found the little door. He turned the rusty handle. The door opened at once. There on the bed lay the most beautiful princess the young man had ever seen or could ever imagine. He bent over and kissed her lips, and Briar Rose opened her eyes and gave a little sigh of surprise and smiled at the young man, who fell in love with her at once. They went downstairs together, watching everyone wake up all around them. The king and queen woke up and stared around wide-eyed because of the great hedge that had grown over the castle. The horses woke up and shook themselves and neighed. The pigeons on the roof woke up, and the dog in the courtyard carried on scratching. The cook boxed the kitchen boy's ears so hard that he yelled. The drop of fat fell into the fire with a sizzle. And in due course the prince was married to Briar Rose. The wedding was celebrated with great splendour, and they lived happily together to the end of their lives.
Okay guys, there is my next one. So I hope you have enjoyed the story today. Please like, comment, subscribe and share, and until I see you again guys, take care. Oh, actually, the thing I always forget to do, I forgot to put my money in. So in our story time with Amy, oh my goodness, we have got a total of 5, 10, 15 in our story time. Sorry about that guys, I am just rushing it on through. So there we go. That is all for today. So please like, comment, subscribe and share, and until I see you again guys, take care. Bye.